Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. We're delighted to present a paper of ours that was just published with the Journal of Political Science. The title of the paper is The Rise of Companies in the Cyber Era and the Pursuant Shift in National Security. I am Professor Udi Sommer. I am John J. Fall Research Fellow at the City University of New York and a Professor of Political Science at Tel Aviv University. And my colleagues are Professor Evyatar Matania, who is a Professor of Political Science at Tel Aviv University, and Dr. Nir Hasid, who is a postdoctoral fellow at Tel Aviv University. We're happy to have you here. Evyatar, please.
Thank you, Udi. We argue that the very concept of national security is undergoing fundamental changes due to the growing role that cyberspace and cybersecurity have come to take, combined with the dominance of the private sector in the cyber realm. A major factor contributing to the dominance of technology companies is their ability to develop and control the type of technological development, its rate, as well as the infrastructure for cyber and new technologies. In the cyber realm, states use private companies and organizations to build the edifices of national defense. Governments use companies for a large portion of their operations and digitally based services. National security is normally considered a public good, yet with such high levels of concentration of information in their hands, companies serve many of the functions traditionally handled by governments, even in national security. The rise of companies in the realm of national security entails the production of security as a commodity. Such security commodification as a private rather than a public good means that certain elements of security may not be non-excludable and non-rival. The market is more likely to provide excludable forms of security, such as protection or deterrence. Conversely, prevention is more likely to be provided by the state.
Thank you, Evyatar. A thorough analysis of the case study of Meta in the Ukraine war serves the empirical components of our theory. It illustrates the preeminence in the cyber era of companies in the realm of both national and international security. Meta made changes to its policies and added new services in response to the war. Here are a few examples. Meta added personal privacy methods for Ukrainians in a host of different ways. Such moves and others, such as data sharing to assist with refugee flows and life-saving information shared in active war zones, alongside the efforts of other companies, had a direct and meaningful impact on the resilience of Ukraine's digital governance and cyber sovereignty. Accordingly, both Ukraine's national security and Russian strategic capacity and war effort were affected. Unavoidably, this effort by Meta put it on a collision course with Russia, which perceived the corporation's actions and threatening its national security. Rather than a business or regulatory interaction between a nation and a company, the conflict between Meta and the Russian government took on a form of a conflict with actual geostrategic implications.
Thank you, Nir. So in sum, in this article, we theorize the levels of change in national security in the cyber era and how companies become indispensable partners for national security. The two key takeaways of the study address the changes in national security that result from the growing role of cyberspace and cybersecurity and the dominance of tech corporations in cyberspace, cyber technologies, and cybersecurity. We think this is a first and exciting step in a much broader research agenda. So the scope of the present paper is on democracies and large companies, but further research will extend the focus beyond this by examining more multifaceted transformations of national security. First, we would look at the examination of non-democracies that focuses on the relationship between governments and companies and the degree of involvement of governments in the business conduct of tech companies. A first example that comes to mind, of course, is the Chinese case. Second, an examination of the nature and degree of influence of technology companies of different types and sizes. And third, an examination of the types of tools that can be used to evaluate degrees of criticality and vulnerabilities in different areas of national security and their implications for democratic governments on the one hand, and the business strategy of tech companies on the other. So we are excited to present this. We were excited to present this paper, and we're even more excited to hear from you. So you have the title here, the link, and also our contact information, both by email and on X, formerly known as Twitter. We'll be delighted to hear from you, and thank you so much for tuning in.